Go.
Hi guys! So magandang hapon, kami ang pakatatlo, nandito po kami ngayon sa
Intramuros!
Ako si Lambert.
Ako naman si Gerald.
Ako si Pat.
Ako si Jamel, Susi.
Ako si Glaiza.
Ako si Patricia.
At nandito kami ngayon para puntahan ang mga magaganda at makakasaysayang lugar dito sa Intramuros. So tara na, let's go!
Kung tutuusin, wala naman talaga nananalo eh. Pero basta pag Pinoy, bahala na lang kayo kung paano nyo kami matatalo.
Yeah, some people have doubted him. This guy's won. He's now beaten the top 10 in the world. I think this fella's power just seems to travel up with him right through the way. He almost defies logic.
Mga kababayan! Turn up!
Intramuros, or in Latin, within the walls. It plays an important part to our country's history, and it is one of the most popular destinations for a visitor in Manila. It is the oldest district and is called the Walled City. Intramuros was built on the south bank of the Pasig River around 1571. It was built by the Spaniards, more specifically by Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, and is bound on all sides by moats and thick, high walls with some over 6 meters high. Historically, Intramuros is the seat of the Spanish government when they colonized the Philippines and served as the center of the Spanish occupation. It is originally built to be the residence for Spanish government officials and their families. It was where the most influential and wealthy citizens of colonial Manila lived. For 400 years, Intramuros was the center of Spanish political, religious, and military power in the region. Today, Intramuros is a prominent tourist spot where visitors can experience Spanish-era Manila through the walled city's churches, restaurants, and museums.
BALUARTE de Santiago was an ace of space bastion built on the southwestern corner of Intramuros, and it was underwent several alterations. In 1609, a writing from Antonio de Morga states that the structure was only a tower within a much larger construction of the Fort Nuestra Señora de Guia. Jesuit priest Antonio Sandeño was the commissioned parish priest responsible for the construction of the Fort Nuestra Señora de Guia. Some of the amenities and facilities included within the fort were courtyard, cistern tank, lodging quarters, and workshops. However, the construction of the fort was always interrupted due to arising circumstances, thus it was not finished.
Hi guys, andito kami ngayon sa The Minor Basilica and Metropolitan Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception o ang Manila Cathedral na kung saan isa sa mga pinakamatandang simbahan dito sa Pilipinas.
The mother of all churches, cathedrals, and basilicas of the Philippines. The Manila Cathedral Basilica is the premier church of the Philippines because of all the churches in the archipelago. It was the one chosen to become the cathedral in 1581 when the Philippines was separated from the Archdiocese of Mexico and became a new diocese with its episcopal seat in Manila. It was established by the secular priest Juan de Vivero in 1571 under the patronage of Mary La Purísima y Inmaculada Concepcion. Father Rivera was given the special privilege and sole faculty by the Archbishop of Mexico to take care of the spiritual welfare of the Philippine colony. The Manila Cathedral Basilica is the premier cathedral of the Philippines for the obvious reason that it is the first cathedral of the Philippines.
The San Agustin Church, also known as the Immaculate Conception Parish, is a Roman Catholic church located in the walled city of Intramuros in Manila. Beyond being a place of worship, the San Agustin Church is a masterpiece and a work of art that every traveler looks forward to visiting in the city. The San Agustin Church was the only building left intact after the destruction of Intramuros in World War II. It also stands tough after surviving 2 fires, several earthquakes, and the World War that flattened almost the entire Intramuros. Built between 1587 and 1606, it is the oldest church that is made up of stone in the Philippines. As of writings and scriptures, the San Agustin Church is said to be 413 years old ever since it was built. The San Agustin Church is an inscribed UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1993 under the Serial Declaration of the Baroque Churches of the Philippines, together with the 3 churches in Paway, Ilocos Norte, which is the Church of San Agustin, the church in Santa Maria, Ilocos Sur, which is the Church of Nuestra Señora de la Asunción, and the church in Miagao, Iloilo, which is the Church of Santo Tomas de Villanueva. 2 of the important points of the church are its bamboo organ and a hidden mausoleum, which houses the remains of Miguel Lopez de Legazpi. The San Agustin Church has been one of the premier churches during the Spanish period. It served as the source of the political influence of the Spanish colonial rule in the Philippines. Today, its contribution to nationhood will forever be embedded in the history of our country.
The Plazuela de Santa Isabel is one of the tourist attractions in Intramuros, Manila. It was made part of the Santa Isabel College, which lacked an open space characteristic of Spanish buildings. Empty lot called Sampalucan along Calaanda joined to enlarge Plazuela in the 18th century. Plazuela de Santa Isabel was restored in 1983. A monument dedicated to the non-combatant victims of the last war in the Philippines was erected in February 18, 1995 by Memorare, Manila, 1945. The Memorare Manila 1945 is a memorial dedicated to all those innocent victims of war, many of whom went nameless and unknown to a common grave or never even known a grave at all, their bodies having been consumed by fire or crushed to dust beneath the rubble of ruins. It is a gravestone for each and every one of the over 100,000 men, women, children, and infants killed in Manila during its Battle of Liberation on February 3 to March 3, 1945. They were mainly victims of heinous acts perpetrated by the Japanese imperial forces and the casualties of the heavy artillery barrage by the American forces. The Battle for Manila at the end of World War II was the most brutal episode in the history of Asia and the Pacific. The non-combatant victims of that tragic battle will remain forever in the hearts and minds of the Filipino people. The Plazuela de Santa Isabel is located about 100 meters at the back of Manila Cathedral. If you're going to San Agustin Church from Manila Cathedral or Palacio de Gobernador, you won't miss this small park.
Palacio del Gobernador was the official residence and office of the Spanish Governor-Generals during the Spanish colonial period. Today, it houses several government offices and Intramuros administration. The Palacio del Gobernador was originally built in 1599 near Plaza de Armas in Fort Santiago but was moved to its present site by Governor-General Fausto Cruz at Waigongora after the former was destroyed by an earthquake in 1645. In 1850, Governor-General Narciso Claveria gave the palace a new facade in neoclassical idiom. In 1863, earthquake damaged the palace. Plans to restore it were abandoned when another earthquake struck in Manila in 1880, and by then the governor had transferred residence to Malacanang. It lay in ruins for almost a century until the Land Bank of the Philippines built an 8-story building on the site in 1978.
Nandito po tayo sa Fort Santiago o Puerta Santiago.
Ang Liwasang Rizal o Parking Rizal ay isang makasaysayang kalusuring liwasan na nasa puso ng lungsod ng Maynila, Pilipinas. dating tinatawag na Bagong Bayan noong kapanahunan ng kolonyalismo sa ilalim ng mga Kastila, at tinawag na Luneta kalaunan. Tatagpuan ito sa may Bolivar Rojas katabi ng lumang napapadirang lungsod ng Intramuros, at ang bahaging katimugan naman ay nasa Ermita. Ito ay isa sa mga pinakamalaking lunsuring liwasan sa Asia. Pinupuntahan din ito bilang lugar ng pagdilibang, lalo na sa mga linggo at mga pista opisyal. Isa ito sa mga pangunahing atraksyong panturista ng Maynila. Nakatagpo sa tabi ng Look ng Maynila, mahalagang pook ito sa kasaysayan ng Pilipinas. Sa pook na ito, binaril si Dr. Jose Rizal noong 30 ng Disyembre 1876. Ang pagkamartir ni Rizal ang dahilan ng kanyang pagiging bayani ng himagsikang Pilipino. Bagkus, ipinangalan sa kanya ang liwasan para ikarangal ng kanyang pagkabayani. Pinalitan ng opisyal na pangalan Liwasang Rizal ang parke bilang parangal kay Rizal. Nagsisilbi ring punto ng Urihe ng kalimutrong kupong patungo sa lahat ng ibang mga kalunsuran sa Pilipinas ang monumento ni Rizal. Bilang karagdagan, naganap dito ang pahayag ng kalayaan ng Pilipinas mula sa Estados Unidos noong ika-4 ng Hulyo 1946 at naganap din ang mga demonstrasyong politikal nila Ferdinand Marcos at Corazon Aquino noong ika-1986 na nagwakas sa Rebolusyong EDSA.
1, 2, 3, go.
So yun po, nandito po tayo ngayon sa labas ng Silay Center. At ayun po, nasa loob na po tayo ngayon ng Silay Center, na kung saan makikita ang mga lokal na gawa ng mga artista sa Pilipinas.
Nakita niyo po ito ang mapa ng Pilipinas. Hindi ko po alam kung saan nila pa kinuha. Siguro na po.
So ngayon nandito po tayo sa lamesa ng mga lokal na gawa ng lokal na artista. Hindi ko alam kung pag sinunod kung masisira. 7,000.
Center, merong napakalaking plato. Sino kaya ang nakain dito? Abangan.
1, 2, 3.